Hi, this is Vonda Woodall, and I am a high school social studies teacher. I've been teaching for, I think, 17 years. I teach mostly AP and honors. This fall, I'll be teaching AP psychology and honors world history, and I'm also the social studies department chair, and this is my oral exam. The two gifted education objectives that I guess impacted me the most. One is analyzing the influence of culturally unresponsive environments on the psychological, social, emotional development of culturally diverse students in the gifted programs. And two of the things I pointed out here, one is stickers aren't enough. And the reason I said that is in my classroom, when you walk in, there are safe space stickers. I also try very hard to build relationships with the students. I think that's one of my strengths as a teacher. So I learn about their cultures, their family, their interests. I do a good job of playing their music. We have like a rotating music request when they're doing work. So, I try to get into all the different kinds of music that they like. But that's not enough. And one of the things that I've learned in this course in particular is I need to make sure that I'm teaching multiculturally. It's not good enough just to have a good relationship with the students. I need to integrate my instruction and my assessments so that I'm truly a multicultural teacher. Um, Also, I want to make sure that I'm aware of all the levels of differences. I've written before in another class about color blindness. So I don't feel like I'm a colorblind teacher. I think that there are differences. I appreciate, respect, and want to applaud the differences that we have among our races and culture. But the article with Greiger and Pontorato, the one that Jordan and I did on our facilitation, was very powerful to me. It talked about counselors and the levels of acculturation and students' worldviews. And I just want to make sure that I stay aware that within different cultures and races and religions, there are a multitude of levels. So I want to make sure that I'm not lumping all of my students of one race into one pile. The other objective that I want to talk about is understanding the role of multiculturalism in addressing patterns of achievement and underachievement among underrepresented populations of gifted students. In the spring, my practicum work was all about the numbers. I recognize the disparity in our gifted numbers, and that's what this graph is about. It came from one of my presentations in the spring. And I see that there's a disparity. I worked to get minority students into advanced and gifted content and felt successful about that. But it was all about the numbers game. So now I want to better understand the why. So when I look at this objective here, it makes me think about like, why is this happening? It's not good enough for me just to look at the numbers and say, okay, we need more minority students in gifted education. I want to know what the problem is. So, of course, with students, one thing that I knew was a problem was the identification process. That goes all the way back to other classes where I learned about torrents and being able to better recognize and identify characteristics of diverse students. But the article that really hit home with me on this is an article that Hannah facilitated. And it's the the recruitment and retention of minority teachers in gifted education. I became really aware of this in my school when I tried to do Black History um, bulletin board in our cafeteria, and I wanted to feature our own faculty members. And there's not very many Black faculty members. And then I started thinking about the ones who are gifted certified. We don't have any. We don't have any Asian gifted certified teachers. We don't have any Hispanic gifted certified teachers. So I want to learn more and do more work as to why we don't have minority faculty members, why they're not gifted certified, and figure out what we can do in our school to change that. So going into my future plans, first of all, I want to continue my personal work and so help the white man dance. The article by Howard about white man dancing and his transformation was so powerful to me. And I also just love that whole white man dancing thing because I have a white 300-pound 6'6" husband who thinks he can dance, but he really can't. So I just crack up thinking about white man dancing. But anyhow, that transformation that he went through with understanding his own culture and being able to relate to others. One of the best quotes from his article is, "How do I incorporate into my own identity these intense experiences with other cultures? I discovered that I do so by finding a deep connection with personal culture that is indigenous to my own heritage." So it's important that we know who we are as we begin to relate to other people and try to make a difference in other cultures. And also, Kendall's article really hit home to me, the whole idea of trying to figure out, what it's like to be white and Southern, and being honest about our past, being honest about our family, being honest about our heritage. The My Peeps project that we did at the beginning of the semester really helped me with this, and it really made an impact on me. So I want to make sure I'm having these courageous conversations with myself, number one, with my family members, and with my circle of friends. And then as a department chair, I want to make sure that I'm modeling what a multicultural educator looks like. And one of Ford's quotes or one of the quotes I pulled out of Ford's book is, "Equity is not a game of choice." And that is very powerful to me. We don't get to pick and choose who deserves equity within our school system. And I want to have those kind of conversations within my department. Other parts of my future plans are my professional plans within my classroom. So I love the My Peeps assignment because it really made me dig into who I was and reflect on my upbringing. So I want to incorporate this into my world history class. It's one of the first assignments we're going to do. I'm going to have them do their own My Peep story, and then throughout the semester, I want to connect that to the content. So that's one of the ways I'm going to teach multiculturally. With AP Psychology, and when I was reading about Banks and Nito, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, and even looking at Fraser and Ford and Banks and the Matrix, I noticed that there's a consistent focus on social justice. And I love this. We've had social justice speakers actually come and talk to our students at school. So as we're going through AP Psychology and we get into the Milgram experiment, a Stanford prison experiment, I showed the documentary Brown Eyes, Blue Eyes. I don't know if you've seen that before. I want to tie it into relevant content for today, things that's going on today, like looking at our prison systems, looking at politics, looking at immigration. And I want to help these students put their learning into action and understand that they have the power to change. And with doing that, that is taking a multicultural approach to the curriculum. Networking and collaboration. So within my building, as I mentioned before, being a department chair, I have influence over my department, but also I'm a part of the leadership team. And one of the things that the leadership team does every year is we take a look at what we want to do for professional learning, which happens about once a month, and it goes on during our planning period. So one of the things I want to present is a professional learning on being a multicultural educator and incorporating multicultural ideas and strategies into our instructions, into our curriculum. So I want to lead that, and I want to put that on the agenda for upcoming PLs, and maybe get a team together with myself, and Jordan is also a teacher in our school, and see what we can do to help our faculty be more aware. And the second part of networking and collaboration is I recently was asked to serve, or technically appointed to, the Georgia Children's Cabinet. And this is a 4-year obligation, and we meet quarterly. We had one meeting in June. And what we're supposed to be doing is supporting a sustainable and comprehensive system of education and care to best serve children and family. Well, when I got to the first meeting, there are bipartisan legislators. There are, the head of DFACS is there, the head of the juvenile justice system. There's a representative from UGA. There's child advocates. There's attorneys. And like I said before, there's both Democrat and Republican legislators. As a part of the cabinet, the state superintendent is there, but I'm the only teacher. And I think that I'm going to bring a different type of awareness to this cabinet. And in our very first session, we had to talk about our vision for the children of Georgia, and we had to share a picture and talk about what we wanted to see happen in Georgia. And I mentioned in my vision, and this came from all of my learning here and working on my specialist, that equity or I'm sorry, I mentioned equality and equity are two different things, and that, we need to do more for certain regions of our state so that, it's more equitable for them. We need to do more for students who don't have as many tools as other students have based on where they live or what their family situation is. And I had a few blank stares, but a couple of the legislators, a couple of the female legislators gave me what I call the amen nod. So I knew they understood what I was saying. And then I had another person who came up to me afterwards and thanked me for talking about equity and not just talking about equality. So I feel like that's going to be a place that I can use what I've learned this summer and in my other classes, and I can try to make a difference in this cabinet over the next 4 years. All right. Well, I've enjoyed working with all of you this summer, and I'll probably see some of you, or, through the online learning, see some of you in the fall. Thank you.